Let me just say that this bill will provide for the readiness that the military didn't even ask for, that the White House and the administration didn't ask for. This bill is built on the hearings that we've had. Now, you'll see in your desk copies of the hearings that we had on readiness. 11 hearings. Every combat commander said that the military today is less ready than it was when we went to war. It could not be deployed. Our strategic position in the world is in jeopardy, significantly increased, according to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, because of the readiness of our forces. I'm talking about active duty forces. No National Guard force in the United States could be deployed today as a unit because of their lack of readiness. That's in the reports. That's what we're trying to address. We're trying to make sure that not only we take care of the units and the families. A young fellow came into my office, and a member of Congress said, "We are fighting this war on terror," on the floor of the House. I said, "We're not fighting this war on terror on the floor of the House. We're in an air-conditioned floor, going back to our offices, going back to our homes, going about our business. They're fighting. A very small segment of this country is fighting this war on terror." He said, and he was in Iraq at the time, he said, "We got up and cheered because we know the members of Congress are not fighting this war. We're supporting the war, but we're not fighting the war. And anybody that thinks we are is making a mistake." Now, what have we done in order to provide for readiness? First of all, is there anybody here that believes we should send troops into combat without equipment, without the equipment they need, without the training they need? We have one of the finest training areas in the world, Fort Irwin. The last two groups going to Iraq are not going to that training area. You know what a spokesman of the White House said? Well, they'll let them be trained in the desert. That's unacceptable, folks. That's unacceptable. Even the White House hasn't said that we're going to send troops into combat without training, without equipment. The other thing is the deployment beyond 365 days. Actually, the certification or the process by the military is 2 years at home before they go back. 5 years for the National Guard. We're saying they should have 1 year at home. Why? Because they need time with their families. They need time to rehabilitate. They need time to wind down and then be retrained before they go back into combat. The most intensive combat you could possibly have. We had a psychiatrist come before the committee, and he said 3 months of this intensive combat could start PTSD. And what have we done about PTSD? We haven't done near enough to make sure that the troops have what they need when they are home. And we've seen examples of that at Walter Reed. Bill Young and his wife and I and my wife go to Walter Reed continually to see what it's like. And we never find. You talk about oversight. Do they need oversight? Do they need us to look into things? If they're not going to tell us, we have to have oversight. We have to make sure that they have what they need. We've put $140 million into the health care system over the years because we felt it was inadequate and something needed to be done. Well, here we add $450 million to post-traumatic stress counseling. We need $450 million for brain injuries. I was at Bethesda, and I looked in the intensive care, and I saw the reporter that was injured so badly. I didn't recognize him. I thought he was dead. I thought the guy was, Bill Young saw him out there. We thought that he'd never recover. I said to his brother who walked out of the room, "Who is that?" He said, "That's my brother," and how they treating him. He said, "They're treating me fine." I said, "What do you think?" He said, "Well, we're doing it day by day." I saw him on TV, and I said, I want to talk to him and see what kind of help he got. Let me tell you, he got extraordinary help. He got help our troops don't get, folks. They deserve as good a care as he got. And that's why we put $450 million in for brain injuries. And that's why we put $450 million in for post-traumatic stress. Is there anybody that thinks we shouldn't have equipment for troops or training for the troops before they go into combat? Anybody here? No. All of you agree that that has to happen. Anybody that thinks we should extend these troops in the last week they're in Iraq Tell them you're going to be extended for 3 months? No, of course not. You don't think that. Anybody thinks it should be sent back? These are the families. They're not us. They're not the Congress of the United States. We're not being sent back week after week and spending our time in there. Now, let's look at the bill itself. Let's look first of all at a survey they took. They took a survey and they said that half the American soldiers think we're likely to succeed in Iraq. 1/3 say we shouldn't have invaded in the first place. It costs $275,000 to deploy a soldier to Iraq for a year, and it costs $5,840 to treat him. Let me tell you, it costs $2 billion a month, the logistics cost of sending our troops to Iraq. 8,000 miles we're sending logistics care over to Iraq. And I say the Iraqis have to do this themselves. I say it's a civil war, and the Iraqis are the ones that have to take it up themselves, and we have to give them incentives to take it up themselves. Now, some military equipment used in Iraq has experienced the equivalent of 27 years use in 3 years. $17 billion in order to repair that. We've tried to take care of that. We've tried to put money in every year to take care of that. 94% of the troops have been shot at. 94%. 86% have someone who was seriously injured or know someone who's been seriously injured or killed. 77% have shot or directed fire at the enemy. 68% have seen dead or seriously injured. I'm saying these folks are in intensive combat. They deserve our support, and they deserve our help, and they deserve to have the troops they need. Now, what have we done? Many of us recommended they needed more troops in the system long ago. So we put 30,000. They authorized 30,000 more troops overall, not to go to Iraq, but overall, so that we could get by these serious deployments. And we funded that fully. We funded the 30,000 plus 6,000 for this year. We funded 9,000 for the Marine Corps, so they wouldn't have to go back before their time was up. We put $1.4 billion to cover the full cost of housing allowances. The administration didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for this in the supplemental. This is the biggest supplemental that I have ever handled in the 32 years that I've been here. It used to be a couple $1 billion. We have to get away from supplemental. We have to put this back in the basic bill. I told the Secretary of Gates that. I said, they can't plan when they have supplementals like this. They can't plan year to year because they don't know what kind of money is going to be available to them.